If you're new in town or just new to this whole podcast thing, you're tuning in to Law by Night, the podcast that discusses all things vampiric with no fear of breaching the Masquerade. In this episode, we continue to unravel the mysteries behind the origins, motives, and cultures of the 8 ghostly legions in the world of darkness. This episode will focus on the victims of old age that make up the Iron Legion. In case you haven't noticed, dear explorer, I am getting on a bit. Today is my 69th birthday, which most would figure is a nice age to start thinking about retiring, but I am certainly not most people. I have never felt more alive and still feel as fit as a fiddle. Oh, my back! Oh, no, I'm quite right. Please, I insist. Please. Oh, leave me be. Okay. So perhaps I'm not as nimble as I once was. Incidents like that are just constant reminders that I'm living on borrowed time. Soon I will die, and my old corpse will just wither away, leaving my precious company in the hands of my idiot sister, assuming she can be bothered to pull her thumb out of arse and actually contribute to something to the Phoenix Institute. Apologies, Explorer. You needn't hear my frustrations. Perhaps this would be a suitable, if somewhat forced segue into talking about those souls who lived a long life and are rewarded with being a wraith, the geezers that make up the Iron Legion. To our understanding, wraiths who die old appear elderly in the underworld, although we have heard some suggestions that they appear in their prime, but we at the Phoenix Institute believe this to be false. It would certainly make the work of the Reapers of the Iron Legion that much harder if everyone looked the same age brackets. Anyway, the Iron Legion claimed the victims of those who died of the most natural of causes of old age. Now, I say natural, for there are some exceptions to this, or complications, if you allow me to be pedantic for just a moment. The Legion can claim those who died in the last phases of life, whether the causes of death was disease, malnutrition, or just the body failing. This can also include, for example, someone who destroyed their liver through many, many years of alcohol abuse, or a junkie who only have a few decades left through the substance abuses they have gone through. You can imagine there is some bleed over between them and the Skeletal Legion, as we have discussed before, causing some dispute. Otherwise, the Legion would like to consider itself a fairly friendly terms with the other legions, but we know this not to be the case. But you can review your notes you made in our previous conversations regarding the other legions. We also know that the Ashen Lady and the Beggar Lord of the Legion of Paupers enjoy a close cooperative liaison, their armies undertaking joint ventures sometimes. It is an awkward alliance, as the Ashen Lady constantly attempts to move his vote in her favour during council meetings. Much of the strength of the Iron Legion comes from their recognizing the power of familial ties, particularly that of the several generations of mortals they, the elderly, have watched grow up. New recruits of the Legion are allowed time off from their duties, which we will cover, to search for their relatives, whether they are alive or dead in the Shadow World or somewhere in the Underworld. Their reason is that no one can work at their fullest whilst their minds are focused on other things, which is certainly a true enough statement. It also has the political benefit of building and establishing cross-legion relations. Obviously, many of these relatives of the deceased are still living. The Iron Legion has a reputation of being a tough enforcer of the dictum mortem, particularly when the offending wraith is caught skin riding. The Ashen Lady, however, seems to encourage the bending of this rule to benefit her legionnaires. Incidentally, it creates potentially viable links that could prove advantageous to the Legion and their lady. The Ashen Lady is actually one of the more well-documented Death Lords. We know most in the know call her Andriana, which is the name we shall be using, but we have heard, or rather read, some instances of her being called Alejandria. Anyway, we know that she is said to be descended from a long line of Celtic kings, or Celtic, depending on which one you prefer to say. Anyway, she would become a queen and matriarch to a large tribe in the southern part of Britain. Even in death, she would continue to advise and help her people, passing on wisdom that only old age and experience brings. Such goodness and her compassion made her into something of a legendary celebrity within the underworld. Jaron would eventually offer her position in his senate in his then new Roman-styled government. When it was reformed following the First Great Nelstrom, Andriana was promoted to Death Lord, where she assumed the persona of the Ashen Lady, serving the hierarchy with unwavering devotion. Mostly. according to our studies, she had some major grievance against Charon some 400 to 500 years ago as of the conversation, and engaged Charon in a private debate at the Onyx Tower. Allegedly, she emerged weeks later a broken wraith, humbled by Charon's power and claiming to see her mistakes and atone for them by serving with him without question, with the total change in personality to boot. Some debate if the same wraith both entered and left the building. After all, like the other Death Lords, the Ashen Lady wears an elaborate mask that grants her both power and secrecy, hers being an exquisite silver, the mask I mean. Of course, she wouldn't be where she is in life if she was just a ball of warm love and affection. The Ashen Lady wishes to assume the role of the supreme ruler of the hierarchy, constantly undercutting the internal support of the other Death Lords whilst building up her own resources. She has spies everywhere, as well as a legion full of wraiths with great experience and cunning wit. She may not be as outrageous, but is no less relentless in seeking Charon's place as ruler of Stygia. Along with the Skeletal Lord and the Smiling Lord, the Ashen Lady commands one of the largest legions of the hierarchy. She is always fighting to gain ground against the Grim and Skeletal legions, lest either traitor or madman attempt to take control in Charon's stead. To that end, she is considered by many to be the gentlest and most reasonable of the three, neither inciting violence or proclaiming herself to be a tool of the Lord. Indeed, the Ashen Lady has made the Iron Legion into something resembling a high-functional, very loyal family. But what do I mean by this? Well, Ironville is home to the Iron Legion, and it rests on the northernmost of the 7 hills of Stygia. Ironville has earned its title as one of the more conservative regions, protecting what is already there, holding on to what they know well, relics of the past as it were. Not actual relics, but I think you know what I mean. The Ashen Lady's seat of shadows, her towers of black stone, is all adorned with white spindles that are said to pierce the air, giving it an insect-like quality. It was reconstructed in the 1700s by the brightest architects of the Italian Renaissance that has since been a whole blend of styles and visions that one can only describe as, well, monstrous. No, really, it has been hypothesized that the entire destruction of cities has been her doing just to get the building materials and styles. Some 1,000 wraiths are meant to live inside this compound alone, not Ironville. Doors are available where guests can view libraries, art galleries, and so forth. If you imagine fashionable ladies of Europe that surround themselves with the most intelligent, poetic, scientific, and philosophical men, these are the sort of people that could be found in the Ashen Lady's Seat of Shadows, specifically the Salon, all of whom live in relative ease. Many assume that these intellects are essentially prized trophies for the Ashen Lady to show off, and some speculate that few Salon members are never able to see the outside of the walls of the Seat of Shadows ever again, and we don't know what happens should one lose their seat, and I doubt most other wraiths do too. If I was to present a hypothesis, they become the furniture, the best supporting the best in a literal sense. We know that members of the Salon are marked by a tattoo-like design that surrounds their left eye and extends to their temples, where the Salon symbol itself rests. They also have blackened palms on the left hand. This is not the only prized group belonging to the Ashen Lady exclusively. The Nelstrom Prediction and Preparation Unit, or the MPPU for short, is a highly specialized division of the Salon. They serve as the meteorologists of the Shadowlands, looking to predict, warn, and predict Stygia and its necropole from maelstroms. While all Legion members have training in recognizing the signs of impending maelstroms, this group helps refine the signs in order to make their predictions more effective in reducing casualties and destructions these storms inevitably cause. They also help improve the engineering of new structures and materials that will withstand maelstrom forces. It's not all fancy clothes and parlor shows in the salon, you know. There are some legal systems in place. The advocates are the Legion's lawyers and attorneys, who are usually stationed in necropole by local courts. Only good advocates are accepted, mind you. Any sneaky corrupt ones are melted into something more useful to society, usually being paperweights. Many have argued how sincere this kind of legal system really is. The existence of advocates, I mean, not the soul forging. Nothing kind about that. Many think it is a blatant attempt to create supporters among the free wraiths for the Iron Legion, and perhaps they are not too far from the truth. Remember earlier we talked about the Ashen Lady being lenient about the dictum mortem and how she guided her people from beyond the veil? Well, apparently Apparently, she had similar experiences when she was mortal and wants others to benefit from this as well. Such parties called Breaking the Dictum Mortem, for this reason, are recruited into the communities. It is similar to how early hackers are targeted by companies to work with them, and many work willingly. They are the beck and call of the Council of Ministers, and sending all sorts of messages all over the Skinlands. Sometimes they can send their own messages, as a treat. The other exception is that the Ashen Lady sometimes asks the communities to send messages to fake mediums and psychics, purely for her own amusement. I mentioned just now about these Council of Ministers, and I feel now would be a decent time to talk about them. There are 11 individuals that make up the Ashen Lady's High Council and are responsible for the major functions in the Legion. They are, in no particular order: the Minister of Economics oversees the finances of the Iron Legion. The Minister of Defense supervises the Spectre Research and the Spectre Brigade. The Minister of Construction coordinates the construction projects around Stygia. The Minister of Research and Development runs the MPPU and assigns appropriate staff to research projects in other fields. The Minister of Recruiting oversees the Legion Reapers and has final say on who joins the Legion. The Minister in Training helps acclimate new Legion members to their duties. The Minister of Planning allows resources to each necropolis under assistance from the Iron Legion. The Minister of Military General runs the Legion's fighting battalions. The Minister of Legion Relations works as a diplomat with the other legions. The Minister of Intelligence gathers information given to them by the Legion's spies, and the Minister of Special Projects develops new programs and oversees the communities and the Salon when they are not under the Ashen Lady's command. As a result, few bureaucracies run as smooth as the Iron Legion, but then again, few governments have the combined skills of hundreds of well-seasoned officials with centuries upon centuries of experience. Everything is planned meticulously. They have the best citadels from endurance point of view, and often get the best engineers, including the Romans, so that stuff is meant to last. Unexpected plans and events rarely occur. Perfection is not just expected, but demanded. We can only imagine how intense the training can be. Similar comments can be made about the military, who maintains one of the most efficient and forward-thinking militaries of all the legions. From our studies, we have found that there are two main units: the regulars, who offer to themselves as the Elder Legions, and they are made up of veteran ground forces. They practice tried and true military tactics and strategies, taking examples not only from the armies of ancient Greece and the Roman Empire, but also spanning the history of warfare up to the present day. They form the bulk of the Iron Legion's military and have bases all throughout Stygia. Then there are the Specials, who make up a smaller percentage but make their presence known all the same. Many are drawn from various special forces throughout history and take on the most dangerous assignments the Legion has to offer. In exchange, they receive the latest weapons and devices that come from the research laboratories of the Salon and the MPPU, acting as beta testers in their constant war to stave off oblivion. While some Specials look upon their roles as guinea pigs with some trepidation, they would never admit it to anyone outside the Legion. They pride themselves as being the oldest and the best. As you can see, dear explorer, meticulous planning forms the hallmarks of the Iron Legion. Efficiency, order, and patience are the three virtues of the Iron Legion. The Legion on a whole prides themselves on reconnaissance, infiltration, and sabotage. Information is power, especially amongst the dead, and power is what the Ashen Lady and her Legion of Iron wants. It doesn't surprise us to learn that the Legions are very aware of the Legion of Iron's influence. I wonder, however, just when will she strike? To be kept updated, follow the Law by Night VTM Twitter and Instagram pages to find out when we will upload each episode. You can also find out by subscribing to the YouTube channel and clicking on the little bell, as you'll be immediately notified when the latest episode is live. Until next time, farewell.